Hey, it's 2 o'clock. Well, actually, it's 2:01. Sorry, we're running a little bit late today. You're right where you need to be, and finally, we're where we need to be. It's GunStuff Live right here from Newport, Kentucky, and you'll see the great Cincinnati background. Today, we have a very special guest, Ed Brown Products. Stay tuned and share this with your friends. Hey guys, thanks for being with us again for another edition of GunStuff Live. We have a lot of fun. We really appreciate all of you folks watching and the especially engagement. We're going to get to that in a minute. You guys have been doing a great job about sharing this with your friends and so forth. Today we have with us our co-host Scott Kiefner and our producer Mike Miller. Mike's always behind the scenes because he's busy making this thing happen. Guys, thanks for being with us on the show today.
Thanks for being on again, Chris.
So we've had a lot of fun. I think this last week, well, in fact this week, you guys have been out shooting more videos, you and Chris, is that right?
Yeah, we had a chance to go out and we're doing a couple of the small videos for some of the other pistols, and we got a chance to go out and shoot the Zev OZ9. We had a lot of fun with that, and that's out now on Facebook.
Hey, thanks for the invite.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
So we were telling you folks that we've got social media giveaways, and I'm going to give you a taste for that right now. And you can see that we have a social media giveaway. Now, if you want to participate in the giveaway, it's not very difficult. All you have to do is comment on our show during the broadcast, and you can win free stuff. Pictured here is our GunStuff hat. Now, it's a collector's item. Everybody wants one. I know our winners are excited, and they're not so easy to get. Now, you can buy them on the site. Scott, I finally did that. But our giveaway for this last week, what does it say here? Mike, can you read that?
It's Kim Greenfield and Edward Lopez.
Edward Lopez.
Yes.
And there goes our phones. So
they're calling in for those hats.
They're calling in. And let me show you this next week. If you'll switch to that slide right there, you'll get to see what our giveaway was for this last week. And some of our winners were very, very interested in the GunStocks promotion. And the GunStocks promotion, it was a whole lot of fun, and you guys got to see it last week. And Mary Helen Shashi was with us from GunStocks, and that was a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But we actually had a winner, and the winner of this week, and guess what? It's Edward Lopez again. There he is, and he wins the GunStocks.
Oh wow, he's getting kitted out.
Yeah. We just
Congratulations, Edward. Yeah.
Yeah, Edward, we like that. And I tell you what, this is a special gift. I don't see our little pop-ups here. I thought I had one on here. Did somebody take it down?
Yep, I got it.
Yeah, go get that for us, Scott. We're trying to keep things clean.
Yeah.
We have. What do you call this now? This is called
Pop
a
socket.
Is that what that is?
Yep.
That was
Where
the
it goes
thing
on
for
the back of your phone. Yep.
So this is a SIG pop socket. So we're going to give this away. Edward, if you're in, you're going to get it automatically. Just say hi. But the rest of you, we've got a few of these to give away here. And you'll be able to put that on the back of your phone. You'll be the envy of all of your friends when you go out to the range. So that's what we're giving away today, and we're also, of course, giving away the hats. Well, I told you, I've got with us on the other line Ed Brown Products. And Ed Brown has a 1911. Guys, how did we learn about Ed Brown? When was the first time we saw them, Mike?
Gosh, Chris, SHOT Show of 2018, I think, is the first time we met with Ed Brown and John, who we're going to talk to here in a few minutes.
And a few minutes, I think, is right now. And let me see if I can get that back up. Here we go. And while I'm messing with this, all right, so let's see here. There we go, there you are. And now we're back. This is Ed May, the marketing director of Ed Brown Products. Ed, it's nice. John, it's nice to have you back here on the show.
Afternoon, Chris. It sounds like everybody's having a good time anyway.
Yeah.
We're waiting on you to swing by.
Yeah.
Go out to the range with us.
Well, you know what? That'd be a load of fun. I'll have to get up that way and we'll do that one day.
Now,
I heard you guys bragging about that time on the range. I don't get to do that as much as I used to, but it is a load of fun when I do.
well, tell us, John, a little bit about Ed Brown Products. And tell us,
Ed Brown Products was started about 50 years ago, well, a little over 50 years ago now, by Ed Brown. He was he was actually a tool and die maker by trade and was a competitive shooter and started working on other people's guns. Kind of that old classic custom story, you know. He worked on his gun, built his own guns. His guns worked and were accurate, so everybody else wanted some. He started building those. Made a living making parts for years. Been doing business with Brownells, for example, for almost all of those 50 years. And along the way, the two sons joined the company. And when that took place, it was decided they would build complete guns from scratch. Ed's philosophy was real simple: build it better than everybody else, own your own destiny. So, for example, everything in our guns except for the grips themselves and the springs are made in Perry, Missouri, under one roof there at our facility. And Ed's philosophy was the only way to own your own destiny is to own it, start to finish, be vertically integrated. So if you have to have one machine, you better have two. And we've got some pretty incredible machining abilities, and that applied to the 1911. Ed set out to re-engineer every last part of the 1911 to make it better, and he did. Now, I know some would argue that John Browning did a fine job, in which he did. He was a genius, clearly. But there's a difference between the way they made them in those days and the way a machine makes them today. It's quite a bit different with CNC machining today. For example, I learned early on that the 1911 frame and slide doesn't lend itself all that well to modern CNC machinery. So one of our secrets is we figured out a better way to fixture it to make it more rigid, and that's how we hold the tolerances that we do.
now we've got
No,
one of those.
that was
we
an
were
awful lot in an answer there for you, Chris. But
That was a great answer, and
Yeah.
I tell you what, we've got on our screen right now a Ed Brown Products 1911. Tell our viewing audience what they're looking at. You know what it is because you sent it to me.
that is the latest in our Evo series. That is the Evo CCO. CCO is a throwback to the concealed carry officer's model. That has an officer's frame under originally it would have been a commander's slide. However, today with our Evo series, the goal is to make it shorter, smaller, and lighter. So that's our 4-inch slide with our fluted bull barrel. Kind of a unique feature for us. We've never done those before, and that's what kind of draws the Evo series together. The idea behind the Evo series was we sat down at a table. We're all shooters and gun guys, and we all carry daily. And what did we want in the next generation of Ed Brown guns? And we thought about double stacks. We thought about a lot of things, but all of us kept getting drawn back to the feel of a single stack in your hand, how familiar it is when it goes into your hand. So what we did was the original, the first Evo, which is the KC9. The only difference between it and this one is the KC9 has a longer grip frame, holds one more round, and it has a bobtailed frame. What you hold there is an officer's frame under our Evo slide. So that is actually shorter and not as tall as any other gun that we make. So it's shorter going both directions. That one's made in all stainless steel. We also make that in aluminum, so you get shorter, smaller, lighter, thinner. The other thing that's unique about the Evos is if you look at that slide, we actually grind that slide down thinner than a standard 1911 slide. So it's actually quite a bit thinner than you would expect. So it adds to that smaller, thinner, lighter. It makes it the thinnest 1911 we make. One other unique feature of it is the one you hold in your hand is 1995, which is kind of out of the norm for us. We build those batches at a time so we can get the cost down. The original KC9 started at $19.95. We just introduced one the other day that has an actual Vortex Viper sight on it, and you can get it for about $22.95, I think is the retail price on it. So there's a lot of features for a little money in all of the Evo series.
Now you were saying you make everything except the grip. We were admiring the grip. What kind of grip is on this? Is that what does it look like there?
It looks like a faux wood G10 grip. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it's a G10. It's actually a laminate of wood and G10 polymers together.
Wow, yeah, it looks great, you know. But the advantages over the G10 that everybody loves is just the patterns that you can cut into it, and nothing, you know, you can get wet, you can get oil, and all the stuff. You still got a very good grip.
It's indestructible too. You just don't, but they won't break. You know, back in the day when I first started the business, now almost 30 years, well, over 30 years ago, wood grips will break. I mean, it's just the nature of wood. They will crack and they will break. G10 just never breaks. It never fails there. If it has a shortcoming at all, it doesn't compress like wood does. So you can see sometimes the grip screws will back out, but that's no big deal. You just keep them a little, snugger than you would with wood.
Well, the G10 grips in combination with your guys' snake skin checkering on the front gives this thing a phenomenal feel when you grab it. You don't think this thing is not going to move in your hand at all.
No, it is not. That's what we were talking about earlier today. Yeah. It has a tremendous feel.
Yeah, I really do like.
But it's not uncomfortable at the same time. That's a remarkable thing about with the snake skin.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not over aggressive, but it stays where your hand grabs it.
Well, that's what we were talking about. Just it's 92 degrees outside. You're at the range. It's not going anywhere. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's absolutely. Let me give it.
That's right. I've heard it said when you're wet from all sorts of reasons. You know, it could be blood, could be water, could be oil, whatever. It still tends to stay where you have it. You know.
But it's not harsh. That's the amazing thing. How you got it to be. In fact, a lot of grips you would think you'd want to put something on it to make it stick, or you'd want to use gloves. This is like it's like it's got glue on it. It holds your hand, but it's not. It's amazing, and it doesn't hurt you.
No, I think it has to do with the pattern and the direction of the snake. There's something unique about it. I know we've done some. We've made a couple of knives. We've actually sold a few knives or added a few knives to our products over the last couple of years, and the knife makers trying to match the snake skin were having a little trouble with it, working it out, because you'd think it was developed at a time where they just programmed the pattern, but in fact, the guys carefully developed that so that it has that effect, that grasping effect without being over aggressive.
Now, we were also talking, our producer, Chris, who's back behind the cameras, we were talking about how this feels. There's such a kind of a comforting feeling when you have this in your hand. You feel like you've got something that is really going to do the job for you. There's something about the feel of metal. First of all, with that grip, you don't know it's metal. It feels like something else. And it still doesn't tear your hand up, but with the weight of it, it just feels like you've got something. With today's preponderance of polymer guns, it's really a standout, isn't it?
It is. I mean, the feel, the weight distribution of it, you don't feel it's top heavy. You just feel like it's uniform. So when you're out shooting it, everything just comes right back down. Yeah. Doesn't feel heavy. Great concealed carry weapon for really any body type. And with the steel, John, like you said, this is something that you're going to pass down for generations, and you buy something for $19.95 or what have you, but it's going to last forever. And the way you all mill everything and put it together all in-house, that you put it together as a machine itself, you're not parting it out here and there. It all works together. And you can feel that. You're confident when you're going out to shoot.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's interesting about the design, it ended up, I don't know if it was a happy accident or if Wade and the guys just figured it out, but it has a little muzzle heaviness. You can feel it a little bit. It feels like the muzzle is pulling down towards the earth. And what that gives you as a byproduct is, since it's 9mm, recoil is quite a bit less, but the follow-up shots are faster because it seems like the front sight wants to return right back to its natural position.
And one of the things I love about you're talking about the muzzle heavy and everything, is the recessed crown. I think that is just, it's an impressive one. It's just like all precision rifles, they put target crowns on their rifles for a reason, because it protects the area where the bullet comes out of the gun. If that gets a nick in it, that affects accuracy. So they put target crowns and recess the lands and grooves so they don't get damaged. But the thing is, on this pistol, it looks like a diamond shining. It just the way it looks in there, it looks great. But it serves multiple purposes. One, takes a little weight out of it, but then also protects all your lands and grooves, and it looks great. But one of the things that strikes me is that I cut my teeth on 1911. They still had them an issue when I joined the military, so we still had to train with them, and we still had to get proficient with them. And this, you're talking about Browning developing the 1911 for the military application. This is so much more superior. I picked them up, and my first one rattled. I could rattle it, and I could see the light between the slide and it just rattled, and it was a workhorse. It was one of those things. I felt I could have thrown a handful of rocks in there, and it would have kept running. But the feel of these is outstanding, and it's solid. There's no rattle. There's no take up. Everything is just rock solid on here. So I love it. It's a great pistol. I like I like the fact that this, being a carry gun, it's not overly aggressive on all the serrations, but it still has the serrations right where I like them. It has the small serrations here for press checks, things like that. But it's not checkered all over, because it's not a competition gun. This is meant to be a carry gun. So I love the smoothness of it, and the way it's gonna, it's not gonna catch on all my clothes and wear holes through my shirts like other pistols I've carried in the past have. So I think it's really great for that.
You have some different variants also of this particular line. Tell us about what are the options that a customer can get.
Well, the Evo now has 6 individual guns in that series. The original KC-9, which was an all stainless gun made of steel also, with a bobtail, it was paying homage to the original Cobra carry, which came out. Ed designed the bobtail on the Cobra carry over 20 years ago, if you can imagine that. The G4 version of it, which is our blackened version of it, came out behind it. It was followed by the lightweight version of the same gun, so you can now get it in steel or aluminum. And then we introduced our first CCO, like you have in your hand, only in lightweight. So it had an aluminum frame, just like that gun with an aluminum frame. That was followed then by the E9, which is a 2-tone version with a really nice magwell. We had some customers requesting a magwell on a smaller frame. They wanted something they could reload fast and shoot in some concealed carry divisions in different sports. And then most recently, we introduced the E9 lightweight, which is the lightweight version with the magwell, but it also has the Viper Venom reflex sight on top of it. More and more we find that customers are demanding a red dot sight even on their defensive guns. And to just a sidebar for that for a minute, when we built our first CCO with the reflex sight on it, I actually had the guys build me a CCO in 9mm with a Trigicon RMR on it. And I'm an old iron sight guy. I've been shooting an IT-11 since I was 19 years old. And I thought, well, I'm not sure I can make the transition to red dot. So the guys made me up one, and I found out pretty quickly that I know why people are grabbing onto that, because it's an excellent way to build a self-defense gun. Even when the dot is not on, you can shoot inside of 10 or 15 yards. You can keep all the shots easily on a paper plate. Or, well, as my friends like to say, 3 minutes of bad guy. With the dot on, you're able to shoot steel plates at 25 yards on demand easily. It's pretty incredible. And with the battery life now, they're getting out of those things of like, 3 years or something. It no longer matters if you leave it on all the time. So the combination of two effects, we've seen a real growth in red dot sights. One, the older crowd is their eyesight's not as good as it was. Already people had a trouble grasping the, the 3-plane thing. They always had trouble. Rear side, and I concentrate on the front side, and the target becomes blurry. People just always had trouble with that concept. Well, the red dot gives you that. I put the dot in the middle of the target, I press the trigger, it does its job. And then the younger crowd coming in now to our level of firearms manufacturer, they grew up playing video games where it was put the red dot on the target and press the button. So this is nothing unique to them. So we're finding more and more the demand for reflex style sights to be the norm. As a matter of fact, to tell you how influenced it has been on us, we don't offer a single model now that you can't get a reflex style sight on. Nor do we offer, almost everything we build has a 9mm version, because those two things have become constants in the gun world. You better have it available in a 9mm, and you better make it available in the red dot.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, and our viewers have seen me fiddling with my reading glasses all the time, and Scott's been trying to help me out there, and I say that's the problem. You got 3 planes of focus, you can't get them. The red dot kind of gets rid of all of that.
Yeah, sure does. It just puts that, superimposes that dot right on the front, and like you said, everybody has played a video game or something, or you've either shot a rifle, just like the overwhelming majority of AR-15s out there, rifles, people throw red dots on because they are that easy to use. They're that easy for anyone that it takes little to no explanation for someone to understand how it works, and they pick it up so quickly. So, and all your combat shooting sports, your IDPA, your IPSC, and all them, they're all now having combat carry optic divisions, things like that. So, because of the popularity of it and the effectiveness of using that as a defensive weapon. So.
And I think there used to be, the trend was toward lasers, right?
Yeah.
And then when people realize you can get a red dot without making your opponent aware of the red dot, I mean, that seems like a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You're not giving away your position, So they came out with lasers, and military tried to pick them up, but everybody quickly understood that gives away your position, and then also alerts everyone within eyeshot that there's a firearm out, But then everyone's moved away from lasers now, so now when you see a laser shining on something, you assume it's a kid with a little laser keychain and not someone with a firearm.
Yeah.
So they're just one of those things that just didn't. We thought it was going to catch on, but it never did, and for obvious reasons.
That was great for Hollywood, but in real life, not so. Well,
I think,
go ahead.
fellas, I think for a long time they thought with law enforcement it was a part of the deterrence, and there's 2 problems with that. One is we're not law enforcement; we're civilians, and 2, pointing the muzzle at them is plenty of deterrence. I don't need a dot to remind them that I'm there pointing the muzzle at them. That's the job of proper training and proper tactics. Really.
Well, John, we appreciate you being on our show today. We're running out of time. I just wanted to give a word to our audience here. Now, when we were talking about this, you've actually been selling the heck out of these Evos, haven't you? I can
It's
barely
been a
get
very
a sample.
That is correct. Yes, we sell a ton of them. As a matter of fact, that's what decides how often we add a new one. Is we just about get to a place where we're comfortable with the back order level, and we'll come out with a new one to give some new people an opportunity to try to get in on the gun choices too.
Well, we feel privileged. You sent one out to us, and let us take a look at it, and we'll be talking to our viewers more here in the future. And John, thanks for being on the show, and thanks to Ed Brown Products, okay?
Thank you, Chris. And thanks, guys, for having me on GunStuff TV.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Good to see you soon.
Yeah, good to see you again. Well, that's about wraps up our show here for today. Let me get back on here. We've got a few more announcements, I think, if I can find it. And let's see here. Oh, yeah, just to give you guys so here is the picture of the Evo KC9 1895, and these things are really like heirloom quality, wouldn't you say?
It's a good-looking pistol right there.
Yes. Like I said, when you have it in your hand, you know you have something.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel cheap. Like some of the polymers, you can buy a gun for $200, but that you're going to have for a while, and it's meant to shoot. It's meant to be run through its paces. So
now, a reminder to you folks again. if you'd like to get our giveaways, if you've seen our hat, if maybe we've got one around here, we'll show it to you here later. But all you need to do is comment on our show today, and you're going to be able to enter into a drawing. It depends. We'd like to give it to every person. Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. But we do want to reward you and your friends, and thanks so much for making us a success.
We're running out of hats.
Running out. No, we got a new order.
Oh, we
Mike.
did? All right. Well,
got another order, and we got
batch.
more swag. People can buy it on the
Awesome.
on the website as well.
No, it's a good problem to have. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, so folks, make sure you tell people about it. And our thanks to Faxon, our sponsor for today, and who's been with us here now every week here for some time. We've seen them. It's been a little while since they've been on the show. And just a reminder, look for the Faxon Hellfire. Scott, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the Hellfire is the competition model, and then we have the Patriot that we have here on the table today. This is the compact carry model. I'm going to slide this up here. So this is your 1911 sized compact carry model. Has all the serrations and stuff that you would want. Picatinny rail, your fiber optic night sights, nice and bright. This one doesn't have the magwell on it because this is meant to be a nice concealable pistol. But these are great. They're great shooting. We've already had some of the shot groups of stuff that I put out with these. Was able to successfully engage targets at 150 yards with these pistols. You know, so the Faxon makes great barrels, and they've obviously passed that on to this pistol here.
And you don't see that with a concealed carry weapon.
No, not at
You just
150
don't.
yards. You know, and they were all chest shots. You know, so I couldn't tell if I was hitting the target when we got down there. They were all there. You know, but you know, it's one of those things. I was like,
There
okay,
wasn't a
well.
cut in an edit.
No
Chris
cuts.
is good,
no edits.
but come on.
Yeah, in fact, just refer to our graphic there. That's our video. In fact,
Yeah.
you can see that right on, we have it on our homepage. We've been doing sharing,
Yep.
social media. And
It's
then
up on YouTube,
YouTube.
I believe.
And what about the emails? We get into email blasts. And so that's how you learn about this stuff. There's the price of the compact, which is very reasonable. And there's the Hellfire, and that's what you've been shooting.
Yeah.
Now, this is the time of the show everyone wants to know who is the ADCO giveaway winner of the week. And let's show us what that ADCO product is. Tell us about it, Mike.
These are the Super Thumbs. This is from Dr. Al. He helps save your thumbs. So while you're out at the range, this pack comes with all different calibers. I don't know. There's five or six in here. So any caliber you're shooting, you've got your Super Thumb here. Saves your thumbs, especially if you're out at the range loading with the kids and family. It helps get you through it quicker and helps you when you get back home to reload them all. You know, and again, you can still grab stuff at the end of the day.
We got caught out at the range doing a bunch of shooting yesterday, and we didn't have them, and we're loading a whole bunch of brand new mags for different guns. We were like, yeah. So me and Chris were sitting out there going, man, it'd be nice to have some of those out here. What'd you do with them, Bob? We left them on the desk back at the office, you know. So yeah, we're coming really handy.
Well, anyway, you can get yours right on our website. Just go to our contest and GunStuff/ADCO. But here is Robert Griffin is our winner for today. And now, Robert, I just sent you an email. Send us your address, and we'll get yours.
And
right
send
now.
us your pictures.
Send us a picture. Yeah, we'd like to get a picture. Here are a couple pictures of some of our previous winners, and that's how you register. Gunstuff.tv/ADCO. Well, thanks to you folks for watching us today. Appreciate it. I'm sorry I've had a little bit of a cough here today, barely keeping it together. Tell your friends about GunStuff TV, and thanks for watching. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.